We're talking about exponential growth and exponential decay functions. And here we have another exponential growth because the 3 here, our base, is greater than 1. And that's the part that's raised to the x power. Now we do have a translation in the x direction, and we do have a translation in the y direction. So we kind of got to treat this in like two parts. The first one I'm going to look at x and y, and I'm just going to calculate the x and y if we were just considering that it was 3 to the x. So I'm still going to pick 0 and 1, and 3 raised to the 0 power. 3 raised to the 0 power is 1, and 3 raised to the 1 power, or the first power, is 3. So those points are where we're going to start from. Then we're going to apply the translation to that. So in the x direction, it says plus 1, but really this is going to be backwards. So we're going to take whatever the x values are, and for the x values, we're going to take the x values and we are going to subtract 1. And for the y values, what that says is add 2. So we're going to take the y values and we're going to add 2. And that's going to get us from this chart over here to our final chart. So the x values are going to stay, the x values we're going to say 0 minus 1. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And for the y value here, 1 plus 2, that's going to be 3. And for the second point, 1 minus 1 is 0. And 3 plus 2 is 5. So we can see the original function. We have the point 0, 1, and 1, 3. So 0, 1, and 1, 1, 2, 3. In this case, we don't have, for this function here, there's no up or down transformation. So our asymptote is still the x-axis here. So we have a line that comes through, and then we have our exponential growth, and then we get growing tall very fast. Now we put on our transformation, and our point here, which was the point of 0, 1, becomes negative 1, 3. So negative 1 and then 3. That's the point right there. And then our next point is 0, 5. So back 1, up 2, 0, 5. And remember, the asymptote for this one now becomes plus 2. So now we have an asymptote at y equals 2. So that's the graph y equals 2, and we're not going to cross that graph there. And so the graph that we have now, 2 is the asymptote, and then our graph increases exponentially and crosses through those points there. So that's what our final answer will be, this blue function here. Domain and range. For this one, the domain is still the same. It's going to go from negative infinity to positive infinity. The range, in this case, the lowest y value you have, or we come to, is 2. 2 is not included. So 2 to infinity in the positive direction. Asymptote in this case is y equals 2. And the point where the graph crosses the y-axis is 5. So our y-intercept is 0, 5. And we can see this graph a little bit more clearly. We can see that the point here is 0, 1. That is translated back to the left 1 and up 2. That gets us the point negative 1, 3. We also had the point 1, 3 on the original when we substituted in, and then we had the transformation that we applied to it, and that goes to the left 1 and up 2, and then we have the intercept there at 0, 5.